I used to think that there wasn't anything wrong with asking for a glass of water at a bar because, like, we're all human, we need it to survive. That's until I actually asked a bartender for a glass of water, and I was shamed for it. To put it lightly, I was at this bar in the middle of nowhere with a group of my friends because we had heard really, really good things about it online, so we wanted to go. Now, this bar was so far away from the city, but we thought it was cool enough to make the trek all the way out there. And I have a car, so I offered to drive us to and from this bar. And because I was driving everyone, I was not drinking any alcoholic beverages. So we're at this bar, it's fun, it's cool, but eventually I start to feel a little parched. So thinking nothing of it, I go up to the bar to ask for a glass of water. So I get the attention of the one bartender at this bar, and I'm just like, hey, could I get a glass of water with lemon in it? And she goes on to be like, a vodka Red Bull? And I'm just like, no, a glass of water with lemon in it. Tell me why. She goes on to give me the dirtiest look, and she's just staring at me for a good 5 seconds. And then she goes on to be like, all right, little guy. And when I heard that, I was like, you're calling me little guy? Like, where's this animosity coming from? Anyways, I'm just waiting at this bar watching her, and I'm not trying to micromanage, but she's doing everything but get my water. She's doing busy work. Like, everyone already has their drinks at the bar, and she's just wiping down the counters and washing her hands. But eventually, a glass was placed in front of me, but not just any glass, a shot glass. Now, when she placed this shot in front of me, I tried to tell her that, like, I didn't order a shot, but before I could get a word out, she turned around and started her busy work again. So I'm just sitting there with this shot in front of me, but eventually I do manage to get her attention again, and I'm just like, hey, I didn't order this. And she goes on to be like, well, then what did you order? And I'm just like, I ordered a glass of water with lemon in it. In the sassiest manner, she goes on to be like, well, there's your water. And she points to the shot glass, and then she asks, are you a girl? And in that moment, I was so confused and offended, but I was like, I am a boy. And then she was like, well, lemons are for girls. What? Anyways, I drank my shot of water, and then I went to the bathroom and I filled it up a couple more times. But yeah, apparently lemons are only for girls. But that bartender is my enemy, and to think I was just gonna give her a tip for giving me a glass of water. I'm so happy I didn't. And I've been hearing similar stories on this app. So if you're a bartender and you're not like this, please let me know, because I'm scared to order water now. There are enough things that I already have to worry about, and now you're telling me that I have to worry about getting pricked by a syringe from a stranger? That is villain behavior. They're taking advantage of distracted people that just want to have fun at the bar or club. And you may be like, Mark, you don't have to worry. It's just a one-off event in one place. It's not. This crime is on the rise everywhere, like globally. And the worst part, in my opinion, is that no one knows what's in these syringes. Like, it could be anything. All they know is that it's making people sick, like really, really sick. And I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but like, what happened to dropping something in my drink? Like, I'm not promoting it. It's just like, I don't want to get poked. And the advice law enforcement is giving to avoid getting poked is just be more aware. And I'm thinking, like, how do you expect me to be more aware when I'm shoulder to shoulder shaking my thing in the club? Like, do you want me to strap a dash cam to the back of my head? I'm predicting it now. The club is going to be full of Iron Man suits in the next couple years. There was a time when going to the mall to get a new pair of shoes was respected as a sacred tradition where you didn't have to worry about the judgment of others because everyone knew the vulnerability it took to share your bare dogs with the public. But I'm afraid to tell you guys that that time is officially over, and I would know because I recently went to the mall to get a new pair of shoes and I was judged majorly. Now, you see, a couple of days ago, I needed new shoes, and I needed them fast because the soles of the shoes I was wearing were literally falling off, and I was just out and about, so I couldn't do anything about it. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go to the mall and treat myself and get new shoes. So that's what I did, or at least tried to do. Right off the bat, I entered the shoe store in the mall, and as soon as I enter, one of the workers looks down at my shoes and goes, flat tire, I see. And I'm thinking, like, why are you commenting on my shoes? Like, this is already embarrassing enough, but I don't say anything about it, and I'm just like, haha, yeah, flat tire. Anyways, this dude proceeds to tell me that he'll be helping me today, and he was just like, let me know if I can grab a style of any shoe that you want. And I was like, thank you so much, and I started looking for a shoe, and this dude starts starts following me because he was helping me. But eventually I find a shoe I like, and I tell this dude like, hey, can I get a 10.5? And he was just like, yup. And he went to the back and got me a 10.5. So I take off my existing shoes so I can try on these new shoes. And almost as soon as I take off my shoes, this dude helping me goes, I like your dogs. And I look up at him mortified. I'm thinking like, you can't just say that. That's so inappropriate. You can't just tell customers you like their dogs. And then a couple more seconds go by, and I think he realized he was misunderstood because he was like, no, I mean the dogs on your socks. I was wearing my lucky dog socks, which if you don't think is embarrassing enough, this is what they look like on my feet. That being said, right after that, he did try to sell me new socks, and it did work, so I don't really know how much he actually liked my dog socks, but whatever. But the embarrassment does not end there. As I'm just standing there with my dog socks on, this random kid comes out of seemingly nowhere, points at my feet, and just goes, ha ha. It was like a Nelson laugh from The Simpsons, and then he just walked off. Needless to say, I got new shoes and socks, and when I was leaving the store, the guy helping me out was like, you want to wear these out, right? Like he was insisting on me wearing them out, and I was just like, yeah. I was up for debate if that guy helping me out was actually judging me or if I just felt judged, so y'all can weigh in on that, but that little kid was definitely judging me. If you're out shopping and you go to checkout and the cashier asks if you want to save $10 by signing up for their little program, please be cautious before saying yes, because you have no idea what you're signing up for, and I would know because I was asked this question at checkout and I said yes, and looking back, I completely regret. I was getting some shopping done at a very, very popular clothing brand known for their basics, and everything was normal at first. That's until I went to checkout. Now at checkout, the cashier scans all of my things and it works out to be around $50, but the cashier goes on to be like, well, you could save $10 if you just signed up for my little loyalty card. And in my brain, I was thinking like, oh, $10 off a $50 purchase? That's 20% off. That's a pretty good deal for just a loyalty program. So I said yes. So she starts this sign up process. And at first I thought it was going to be easy. I thought I'd just have to give her my phone number and my first and last name, and bada bing, bada boom, I'd be signed up. But no, first thing she asks is for my address. And right off the bat, that raised a red flag for me. So I was like, why do you need my address? She was just like, oh, we just want to send you some promotional stuff. So I was like, okay. Then she asked for my full name, and I'm like, okay, normal. And then she asked for my number, and I'm like, okay, normal. And then she asked for my identification, and I'm like, that's not normal. So I asked, like, why do you need my identification? And she goes on to be like, well, we want to make sure there's no duplicate accounts. That made sense to me, so I was like, oh, okay. Now, I normally would have given her my driver's license, but I had lost it, so I was carrying around my passport. So I pull out my passport, and she snatches it. She takes it behind the checkout counter and she scribbles something on a piece of paper that she's been scribbling all my information onto. Little did I know what this piece of paper actually was, but I thought I was safe because I was at a reputable, trustworthy brand, so I thought I didn't have any reason for concern. Anyways, I get done signing up for this loyalty card program thing, and I check out and I save $10 and I go home, and I don't really think about this experience for like months. That's until I check my credit score and I see that it's like abnormally low, and I pride myself on keeping a good credit score. So I'm thinking like, what is going on? Lo and behold, I find out that cashier from the clothing store did not sign me up for a loyalty card. She signed me up for a credit card without my knowledge. And because I wasn't expecting a credit card, when it got sent to me, it just went directly to my junk mail, and it was just sitting there for months. Also, there was one mysterious charge on this credit card that was accruing interest and bringing down my credit score that I still do not know what it was to this day. Nonetheless, countless phone calls later, I was actually able to solve all of this, but still, let this be a cautionary tale. Like, don't sign up for anything at the checkout counter. Also, I did a little bit more research and I found out for every person that these cashiers sign up with a credit card, they get a commission. So that's why she signed me up. She made money from me. I don't know, maybe I should have known what was going on after giving her all that information, but don't y'all think it's a little deceptive to say it's a loyalty card when it's actually a credit minute card. Why did no one warn me that I shouldn't eat Chipotle before my yoga class? Because I ate Chipotle before my yoga class and it did not go well, to say the least. Now, everything starts out normal. Last night, my friend invited me to this free drop-in yoga class, and I don't do yoga that often, but I still said I'd go because I like free things. So eventually it came time to go to this class, but I had realized that I hadn't eaten anything for dinner, and I probably should have, so I have the energy for this class. But I needed something fast because class was in less than an hour, so I made the fatal mistake of thinking Chipotle was a good option. So I pull up to this Chipotle and I go in with a greedy mindset because I'm thinking like I'm going to a workout class, like I'm gonna burn this all off anyways, but I wasn't thinking about the repercussions this food may have on my body. I got double chicken, black beans, queso, corn. I was gluttonous. And to make matters worse, I scarfed down my burrito bowl in less than 4 minutes because I needed to get to class. Nonetheless, I finally get to this yoga establishment and I meet my friend outside of it, only to find out that this wasn't just a yoga class. This was a hot yoga class, which if you didn't already know, because I didn't know, it's basically just yoga in a boiling hot room. So me and my friend, we enter this boiling hot yoga studio and almost immediately I could feel my Chipotle expanding in my belly from the heat. And I was thinking like, this is not gonna be good. And boy, was I right. So we start doing like regular stretches, like non-yoga stretches. And right off the bat, I'm passing gas. But luckily for me, I was doing it silently. But just because it was silent does not mean it wasn't deadly. I'm telling you, this stench was horrendous. Like I didn't know my body was capable of producing such horrible things. And the worst part is it didn't go unnoticed. This girl in the back of the class, absolutely no decorum. I mean, I don't blame her. Goes on to be like,
"What is that smell? It stinks."
and as soon as I heard that, I knew that if I didn't think fast, that I could be charged with the crime. So I was just like, yeah, what is that smell? It is stinky. And fortunately for me, right after I said that, the yoga instructor goes, oh, it's probably Antoine. And she points to a cat in the corner of the studio. And she's just like, here, I'll let him out. And she goes to let her cat outside the studio. Little did they know, it was me the whole time. Anyways, we start our little yoga routine. And somehow I'm still producing a constant flow of these noxious fumes, but luckily for me, they were still silent. Now, as the class went on, I think people started to realize that these smells did not come from the cat, and instead came from one of us, because if anything, the smells started to get more potent. So potent, in fact, that there was a point in class where the instructor stopped class and was just like, hey guys, just a little reminder that there's a bathroom in the back. And she lingered there. She was just like, it's available for use by anyone. I'll pause class for you guys if you need to use it. Now, I know some of you will be like, Mark, just use the bathroom, get it out of your system. But do you know how embarrassing that would be? Everybody would know that in the beginning of the class, when I asked what that smell was, they would know that the smell asked what the smell was. So I didn't go to the bathroom and I just kept on anonymously tooting my way through class. That's until the last part of class where our final pose was something called plow pose, which if you don't know what it is, look it up. It's vulnerable. So there I was in plow pose, pretty much face to face with my behind. And I let out the most acoustic fart you can imagine. And I tried to hold it in, but it did not help. It just elongated it and made it more high pitched like a trumpet. And it went on for like 10 seconds. And you may be like, oh, 10 seconds. That's not that long. Count 10 seconds right now and say that again. Also, worst part, as soon as I stopped tooting, I hear the girl in the back that commented before just go, oh my God. She just had to say that. And as soon as class ended, everybody just scattered and it was just me and my friend. And now my friend knows that I fart. I don't think I can ever go back there. I don't think I'm welcome. And now I have to worry if I got pink eye from that plow pose. But looking back, I feel like I could have done any other workout class and I would have been fine. It's just yoga is very conducive of farting. I don't know. What do you guys think? As many of you already know, a couple of weeks ago, a random kid came up to me on the street and said that I looked like Lollipop Kid from Shrek. And ever since, my ego took quite the plunge, because who would want to be compared to someone that looks like that? But instead of letting it get to me, I decided to try to do something about it. And by that, I mean I tried to look less like Lollipop Kid. Keyword tried. And my first thought was that if I just changed my hair, I wouldn't look like Lollipop Kid anymore because we both have blonde hair. So I went to the store, I got some hair dye, and I dyed my hair, thinking that all of the comparisons would be over. Update, the comparisons were not over. Kid you not, the first time I left my house with my new black hair, I was at the mall and this random little kid runs up to me and he's just like, Lord Farquaad, is that you? And then he just runs away. It's the way that this child went out of his way to tell me that I look like him that makes me really believe it. Are you serious? Do I actually look like him? The weirdest part to me is I'm not just getting compared to like random characters, I'm getting strictly compared to characters in the Shrek universe over and over and over again. Like, do I just look like a DreamWorks animation or something? Guess I gotta change my hair again because Lord Farquaad is foul. Today I found out that old people can be active in the bedroom in ways that I didn't even realize were possible, and it has me shocked. Before today, I didn't even think that old people had the ability to get that freaky. Like, I thought the extent to their intimacy was holding hands or a tender kiss. But then I met my friend's grandmother and I learned the truth. This morning, my friend had asked me if I could help him move furniture around at his grandmother's house because she needed it moved and he couldn't do it alone. And I said yes because he's a close friend of mine and I was free. So my friend picks me up and we head over to his grandmother's house. But when we get there, she is nowhere to be seen, but her bedroom door is shut. So we just assume that she's still sleeping. We didn't want to wake her up, so we just waited around in the kitchen for her to wake up on her own so she could tell us where she wanted things moved. Now, it's important to note that my friend had told me prior that his grandma had been living alone for the past 20 years because she's a widow. So it came as a bit of a surprise to me when while me and my friend were waiting around in the kitchen, we see this elderly man in his underwear shuffle in, go, "Hey kiddos," and proceed to fix himself a breakfast. But he looked so comfortable and my friend didn't say anything, so I kind of just assumed that this was the grandma's new boyfriend that stayed the night at the house and is now making breakfast. Anyways, me and my friend take this as a sign that his grandma is out of bed, so we go upstairs to go to her bedroom to say hi and see what she needs moved. So my friend opens the door to her bedroom and the first thing I see is this 80-year-old grandma and then another different elderly man both in bed together. And I'm just thinking like, what is going on? But the grandma's unfazed. She's just like, "Oh, hi guys, thanks for stopping by." And my friend goes on to be like, "Hi Gammy, hi Fred, who's the guy downstairs?" And I'm thinking like, wait, you didn't know the guy downstairs? But Gammy responds and she goes, "Oh, it's just a friend of ours." And then she winks. And me and my friend were like, "Oh, that's so nice." But on the inside, I was like, I am uncomfortable. Nonetheless, she eventually asks us to move this dresser from her basement to her bedroom. And we were like, sure. And we started doing it. And everything was normal at first. That's until we actually get into her bedroom with this dresser. And I start to notice some things. She's got a mirror on her ceiling directly over her bed. If you know, you know. She's got upside down pineapple wallpaper. And she's got a swing. And I am not talking a playground swing. Also, moments later, after we move the dresser, we see the random dude from downstairs come into the bedroom with breakfast. But not just breakfast for himself. Breakfast for him, the grandma, and then the other elderly dude in bed. And putting two and two together, I was certain that was aftercare. But we left after that. And on the way home, unprompted, my friend was just like, "Yeah, my grandma's just really social." But like, am I alone? Like, did you guys know that old people like this existed?